This is News Fighters, where we fight the news so you don't have to.
G'day everyone, welcome to News Fighters for today, Friday, July 5th, 2019. I'm your host, Dylan Bain. We're back, Parliament's back, and the economy, well, it's not doing so well.
Well, interest rates were already at a record low and now they're even lower.
Interest rates slashed to just 1%.
1%? I haven't seen interest rates this low since I was on Tinder. Righto, so moving on, with the economy floundering, that means it's time for a tax cut.
The government's tax cuts pass in full.
Yes, the coalition got its tax cuts through, but not without some token tussling from Labor.
They said they'd support the first tranche of the tax cuts, then they wanted to bring the second lot forward, but then they want to push the third lot back, and then they've passed it in, they'll pass it in the House of Representatives, but then they'll seek to amend it in the Senate. And it's likely that even if those amendments go down, they will still vote for it.
Yes, and as Belgian waffle Matthias Cormann summed it up,
you're all over the place. You've got more positions on tax than in the Kama Sutra, quite frankly.
Yep, but unlike in the Kama Sutra, Labor somehow managed to screw itself. So Labor's Anthony Albanese always supported the first stage of the Labor tax cuts, even if he couldn't quite get the figure right.
$1,080 for those who earn less than $126,000 a week.
$126,000 a week? Is that who politicians consider middle class now? Ugh, I guess so. Look, Labor's main sticking point with the third stage of these tax cuts was that they didn't come in until 2024-25, which is in 2 elections' time. As Albo pointed out on the Today Show,
they've been elected for this term, they haven't been elected for life.
Now, he was sitting next to Peter Dutton there, who did look even more sheepish than usual. I wonder why. Opposition frontbencher Tanya Plibersek also pointed out that the third stage of these tax cuts were so far down the line that Labor might even be back in power by then.
What we don't want to see is us signing a blank cheque now for revenue that we will have to find in years to come. We might be the government in years to come. We're talking about 2 elections from now.
Yep, so looks like I'm not the only one planning for tenure 2025. Labor was so opposed to the third stage of these tax cuts, they called them irresponsible.
We think it's economically irresponsible.
But this third stage that the government is proposing, that takes place in 5 years' time, that's worth $95 billion, we think is highly irresponsible to sign up to today.
So under no circumstances will you support stage 3?
Well, we're opposed to stage 3.
Yes, Labor was so opposed to them that they voted for them anyway.
Labor believes its best political shot is a tactical retreat.
Labor abandoned its opposition, having failed to remove the final stage of cuts for higher income earners.
The opposition effectively delivering the government's key election promise.
Yes, when the Labor Party says they're going to deliver on election promises, they mean it. They just mean the Liberal Party's election promises. Anyway, the Greens weren't happy. Here's Richard Di Natale about to have an aneurysm.
There are so many Australians in this country who are crying out for leadership, and you've caved. You've crumbled. You've given in at the first sign of pressure.
Richard, calm down. This is Labor you're talking about. Crumbling is their de facto strategy from now on. But that's not to say Labor caved in on everything. They did try and push one very important amendment through in the House of Reps.
Labor even tried to amend the title of the bill, which is Treasury Laws Amendment, Tax Relief so working Australians keep more of their money.
Okay, so that's the Liberal Party's original name for the tax cut bill. Albo thought it was quite immature.
This title shows how childish and pathetic they are, which is why we've moved this amendment.
Okay, Albo, so what's your very important amendment going to change the title of the bill to?
I move as an amendment that the short title of the bill be amended to read Treasury Laws Amendment, in brackets, tax relief so working Australians keep more of their money but not for a really long time. Close brackets, Bill 2019.
Okay, great. For those keeping score at home, this is what our parliament's devolved to now. Labor's given up on being in opposition to hardcore neoliberalism and instead is trying to score comedy points. Now, the title change didn't go through the House of Reps, and when it made it to the Senate, Labor gave up entirely.
Labor's pulling its opposition after 4 key crossbenchers shifted their support to the coalition.
Now, last month, the coalition made it clear that it wouldn't do any special deals with the Senate crossbench.
We will not be doing any special deals or any horse trading.
Which, of course, is exactly what they did.
Centre Alliance on board in exchange for lower gas prices.
And for Senator Lambie forgiving Tasmania's $157 million public housing debt to the Commonwealth.
And wasn't Tasmanian Senator Jacqui Lambie excited to be back in Parliament?
Mate, I haven't got enough information on the table. Still waiting for the information to come through.
My God, slow down, Jacqui. How many coffees did you have on your flight? So it's looking like the crossbench in the Senate now is going to hold all the power in this Parliament, similar to the way the independent Three Amigos did in the 2010 Parliament, which means the media is already looking for a clever nickname.
It also heralds the emergence of a new Senate power posse, Jacqui Lambie and the Centre Alliance.
Yes, Jacqui Lambie and the Centre Alliance. Kind of sounds like an early 80s hip-hop group, and I'll tell you what, Jacqui already has the speedy rap skills for it.
Mate, I haven't got enough information on the table. Still waiting for the information to come through.
There were also the other crossbench senators to consider, and Cory Bernardi's position was entirely predictable.
The government had me at hello, would like to make some tax cuts.
Yes, get ready for Cory Bernardi in the remake of Jerry Maguire, but instead of a downtrodden Renee Zellweger falling in love with a down-on-his-luck Tom Cruise, we have a Conservative senator falling in love with never-ending tax cuts.
Just shut up. You had me at
hello, would like to make some tax cuts.
Hitting cinemas this July 1. Yes, I'll tell you a funny coincidence though. That's not the only Jerry Maguire quote to do with this tax policy being announced. It turns out Liberal donors also love a certain other Jerry Maguire quote.
Show me the money!
But not so much this one.
I love black people!
But in the end, Labor decided it wasn't a fight they could win.
The Shadow Cabinet met this afternoon and agreed that if our amendments fail in the Senate, then the legislation should pass.
But despite capitulating, Albo still tried to claim the high moral ground.
What this is about is us being the responsible economic proposal.
Close enough. And according to Sharri Markson on Sky News for Labor, it was all about the future.
Labor does not want to spend the next 3 years in opposition as the party that voted against tax cuts.
I mean, God, even Barnaby Joyce saw that Labor had no alternative.
It's so easy for us to fight against it. You know, these guys won't give you money. Simple. And do every argument in every pub every night.
And I get the feeling Barnaby knows a lot about arguments in pubs. So, after the legislation passed last night, Scott Morrison delivered an emphatic victory speech and wheeled out all the same platitudes from the election campaign.
The Parliament of Australia voted to reward aspiration. The hard-working aspiration of Australians all around this country, quietly going about their lives, seeking out their future, putting the effort in, having a go, and as a result of what was passed the Parliament tonight, getting a go. They know where we stand when it comes to their aspirations. Labor has shown again this week that they will always be the party of higher taxes. A party that has not understood the aspirations of ordinary Australians.
Okay, ScoMo, Liberals, please, enough with trying to own the word aspiration. Enough. Unemployed people, poor uni students, disabled people, they're all aspirational too for a better life, but you never reward their aspiration. Maybe ScoMo should just be honest when he speaks.
The Parliament of Australia voted to reward
rich people.
This is a win tonight, not for the government, not for the Liberal or National parties. This is a win for
rich people.
They know where we stand when it comes to their franking credits.
Meanwhile, Labor is moving on and starting to firm up its strategy on how to lose the next election.
It's indicated it might go to the next election with a plan to reverse some of the tax cuts favouring higher income earners.
Yep, good luck with that one. Certainly instills you with confidence, doesn't it, Tanya?
You know, we might be the government in years to come.
Okay, let's move on. Tax cuts are done. What's the next policy area that the government wants to turn its attention to that Labor can instantly cave in on?
And religious freedom laws could be back on the table this week.
Yep, and I hope I'll have the religious freedom to say, God help us get through this term of Parliament. That's Newsfighters for today. Thanks for listening. We're a bit more sporadic since the election because who the hell wants to talk about politics? But we're going to keep going throughout the year, so remember, subscribe on your apps, tell your friends, watch us on YouTube, write us a iTunes review, and remember, keep fighting, and bye for now.
This is News Fighters, where we fight the news so you don't have to.